5 seasons.
Wow. I didn't think of it.
Yeah, I googled Bill Hader characters and I found a name that I thought was cool, and then
What
that's
is-
where I got that name.
What is that from? What is that
It's
character?
Bill Hader's like Italian like, talk show host, like Italian Larry King, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What a like far out there.
It's a departure for me. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, when me and Angie did our meet the persons.
Like why?
He's my uncle. I was playing a lot of State of Decay 2, and I just kind of took a couple of characters and molded them together into Vinny that you know, and Maria I thought loved, but I guess not. My only note from the last session is Maria is a traitor.
Oh my god.
There was one part of the backstory that I didn't like. I didn't even write it down. But like when Vinny he went to prison because he was doing a breaking and entering, and he killed the guy that was there, but he blamed it on the person he was with. So that's why he got a lighter sentence than the person that he was with. But so he didn't get like a life sentence for killing him. Yeah.
The clink.
In my head, he was in a different prison. Maybe more of a max security one because he got put away from murder. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Hold on. Emily
After-
said they can't hear Zach. Hold on, everybody. Zach is having some technical difficulties.
It's okay, he hasn't said that much.
Something. I don't think he's. Yeah.
Here we go. There we go. Thanks for saying something, Emily. I haven't said really anything of note. And you've heard. I asked Eric about his character, and then started to ask. I'm starting to ask Michael.
I think you called him annoying.
Oh yeah, I did call Eric annoying, and I said watch Meet the Persons with Angie if you want to know why Eric is so annoying. Thank you for.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Make sure we get that again.
Honestly, yeah. The most important part of this whole thing that's happened.
Okay, so Michael, Nick Weber.
Yes. So during season 4, when I was dealing with Liam, that was his name.
Yeah. Dealing with Liam.
Dealing with the sadness and the not funness of that character for a long time. I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in the exact opposite direction. And the same way that I made Liam, I was like, ZWG was too, his shit was too together. He had a good life. Let's do the opposite of that. I made Liam, and I was like, this is too much. I want to make someone as unserious as possible. That was pretty much him. His personality pretty much came to me in the middle of a literal fever dream that I had one night.
Love it.
That was it. He's pretty surface. It's pretty surface level.
No, I think it's great, and but it's fun when you create those surface level characters, as we all sometimes do, and then as you play, how fleshed out they can get, because you started with this like
You're
surface.
forced to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you started with this surface level character, but then ended up in a place where you came up with this crazy background and potential epilogue, which we can talk about. So yeah, it's always interesting to me how much you can find about a character as you play. I like, especially us charm persons people, like we could all pick up a pre-gen character and like and make it our own easily, I would say. Okay, well, Sophie, where did Tom Waits come from? Oh, sorry, Tom Brennan.
Tom was heavily inspired by it's the imagery at the very least.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, a little trivia helpful for our viewers. Tom Waits also inspired Heath Ledger for his performance in The Joker and Dark Knight. Am I correct in remembering that?
Very, very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had played magician previously, also in a long shot that we've done with Matt in the Hell Saga.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I forgot that you were a magician.
I was like, where is she playing a magician movie?
Yeah, which was a hoot, and I was like, you know what? I mean, we're in another casino, and then of course, like post-apocalyptic Las Vegas is like, oh, let's fully round this out with like some Fallout vibes. And kind of amalgamed some of my favorite pieces of media together for this character. There's a lot of backstory of Tom that we didn't really get to get into too much with the time that we had. And I, in a lot of ways, kind of thought that it was going to be a slower, long burn of getting out of this prison.
Yeah.
And was biding my time for a lot of it. And then we ended up shooting our way out. So,
Is there any interesting tidbit of information that you would like to share from the backstory? Anything?
I think there were some moments where we could have connected some pieces with, like, if not in actual mechanics, but in solidarity with Vinny.
Yeah.
I think, like...
I feel like the shame there was the fact that Vinny had only been in the area for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And so, because it would have been cool to have, like, a little bit of a pastime between the two of you, but the backstories just didn't line up in that way.
Time for overlap. But in my headcanon was Tom had been working, conning, doing magic on the strip, all like right up until the end of the world.
Yeah.
And basically on the day of Outbreak Day, won it big, but then had to use all that money to buy his way out of the city, paying off old gambling debts and paying off gangs to like get him through. Not that the money would do him any good now, but you know.
Yeah.
His one big break happened at the end of the world.
Yeah, I definitely think that Tom would be more of a character who would thrive with a whole other like season. We need more time with Tom because I also felt like we didn't get to see a lot of Tom, and that's partly because of the late entrance. But you were still there for 3 sessions. It just sometimes with these sessions, even with 4 players, with as heavy as we go on the narrative, it's hard to not see. It's hard to try to fit everything in that we want to fit in, which is why I like these talkbacks, because then we can talk about the stuff that we wish we could have seen. Well, okay, so I had to leave you for last because I think you might have come in with the most interesting character, Angie. So what made you want to play a 12-year-old little boy?
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, so definitely there was a lot of like Ellie vibes.
Yeah, of course.
Where I was, I had been watching Sophie play the second game, and you and I had started playing the playthrough of the first game, part 1, and I kind of, I guess, similarly to Michael's journey, where it's like I've played one end of the spectrum where I'm just like a total settlement gal, and then I've played another end of the spectrum where I was like kind of like a little bit of a child who like got taken to the world and became like a product of the world.
Yeah.
But I was like, if we're in a settlement in a like safe space, there's gonna be kids, there's gonna be like life.
Yeah.
And I love the dynamic of like children having to live in this world with adults living in this world.
Agreed. And just how different those children would be having no knowledge of the previous world and having this world be their only world. I find that interesting as well.
And it was wild because Drew, we never played, we didn't start playing in the settlement, so I didn't get to make any sort of connection with the settlement before you just hop right in.
Yeah.
And like, so it was wild, like similarly to I feel like Michael and I both are just like, who is this, as we're like going.
Yeah.
But like I didn't know if Drew was gonna be like really rambunctious. I didn't know if he was gonna be kind of timid. I didn't know if he was gonna be like just a hothead or like what he was gonna be.
Yeah.
Until those like first moments of being caught, and like that's when it all started like being what it was.
Yeah, I love it. So along those lines of like you being surprised and adapting to like what's actually happening, the elephant in the room is that that this is definitely a different season of the Remains that we've had before, and that's thanks a lot to especially for the idea of the prison and working your way to get out of a prison and having a prison break. That actually came from Emily, who's watching the show right now. So and also Charm Person's cast member. And I was talking to her before the season started, and I said, I'm getting to this point with the Remains where I'm trying to avoid things feeling similar and things feeling like just a revamp of the same problems. You're trying to go from location A to B and stuff happens, and I know it's hard to do stuff outside of that anyway, but I was like, what's something new that I could do? And I toyed around. One idea that I had was you were away from your settlement, about to return from a supply trip. You run into this unsavory group of people and escape and get away from them, and then it's literally like 4 sessions of like Mad Max style, like just like in hot pursuit, trying to avoid pursuit, trying to like do certain things like that. Thought of that. I thought of the dam beginning to fail, and what people would do with that, and so anyway, I was looking for something different. I was talking to Emily about this. She came up with the prison break idea, and I really liked it because I thought that it allowed for some heavy role play moments, and I thought that it kind of used it was like there was something puzzly about it, and like using your wits to try to figure out how to get out of a situation. So I found that interesting, and I liked that. And I was concerned, when I first started thinking about it, like, we're not going to have those time in the settlements, like, maybe I should, like, try to fit in, like, flashbacks, but then, those won't feel super grounded because they'll feel random, and then I was like, and so I knew that I was putting you guys as players in a different position, but I ended up liking where it went, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts were on being in a prison and figuring that out, and also the kind of like when it like hit you that like, oh, this is what this is. This is what this season is. Like, what was going through your head? And anybody can talk.
I think for me it hit that it was going to be like this is what the season was going to be when at the very end of the first session we made the connection that Sophie's character was the one in solitary and was going to be the roommate, because as soon as there was like a pre-existing, they could have easily been someone at the settlement or but as soon as it was solidified that they were someone who is already established in the prison, has been here and is like long enough to have behaved poorly to be in solitary confinement, I was like, oh, this is it.
This is where
okay.
we're staying.
Yeah. We're gonna live comfortably right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the puzzle aspect of it, like you said, just trying to figure out which guards were going to be the weak points that we could use to our advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Vinny's goal, just playing the long game. Like Sophie said, I thought we were going to be in there till like the last session, and then it was going to end with us breaking out.
Yeah.
So I was definitely trying to play the long game and just be friends with all the guards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'll just be candid with you. I also was very much ready for that to be the case and for the fourth session to be the escape of everything. And I think what happened is... well, one is definitely the scene between Jack and Angie for sure, but I really thought I am truly, and this is why I love using in the remains. It feels really good to use the dice online because we all see the result. There's a tension there. There's like a no holding back with that, I mean, Drew should have died when that happened.
Yeah.
Drew is in a room with two armed men trying to shoot him, and he somehow got out of that room, ran away, and was able to hide. Like, that was crazy to me. So even when that happened, I was like, okay, well, Angie will just have to be a new prisoner coming into the camp, like, or something like that. But like I said, to be candid, I feel like what happened was yes, it was partly the Drew thing, but also I personally was just like, man, how can I, like, I'm just gonna drag this out, and it's just gonna be scenes of them talking to these guards over and over again, and I just didn't know where to throw a wrench into it. I didn't know where to add something new, and I was struggling with it. And so I just, when the Drew thing happened, I just ran with that, and I was like, okay, Jack's fucking nuts. Jack's crazy, and that's the thing now. And then once it was realized how inhumane of a place you were being in, then it's like, okay, we can't bide our time anymore. We're gonna die.
It sped up the timeline.
It sped up the time.
Especially when he said one of you are gonna die every day.
Yeah.
Something happens. Yeah, that sped it up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that's like such a good, like, that's such a sense of stakes. That's such a sense of like excitement, and because it easily could have just been us continuing to probe the guards, like Drew getting farther and farther into the Kool-Aid and Nick being upset and like trying to talk me out of it. Like, it could have been 3 sessions of that, but like sorry.
No, like I said,
sorry.
Like I said, it didn't happen. Like, I was even with you doing what you did, that still could have happened. I was like creatively like stunted, and I didn't know what to do, and so I just used it as a catalyst to throw a spark in the fire.
Drew's hard to shoot, but easy to bite.
Okay. Well, all right. You know what? There's no order that we have to talk about things. So let's talk about this. Let's get into this. So Drew has made it. Drew survived. Drew, against all odds, he was
like 6 gunshots.
Like, literally, he made it out of a room with 2 full-grown men, snuck into an encampment with armed guards, snuck into the main guy's house, almost killed the main guy, gets captured, gets put on his knees in front of display with, once again, armed people surrounding him in front of everybody. A shootout breaks out. He's not hit once. He even doesn't run away to the exit right away. He runs and chases down another man.
He headshot him.
And then, after all of that, he finally leaps over a fence covered with infected. Then at the very end, at the very end, Icarus flew too close to the sun. And what happened? What Angie, talk about it.
So that exactly is it. I was literally like a 12-year-old boy in this world who wants to fight, wants to shoot, wants to like serve his community, and wants to serve a community at this point. Like he was kind of indoctrinated a little bit with Jack's like bullshit, and was like starting to like if the thing with Nick hadn't happened, if like the bullshit about Nick hadn't happened and he hadn't been like, no, that's not right, he would have kept going. He would have like kept going.
That was going to be another question I asked you, is did you see a world where Drew turned?
Absolutely, yeah. I thought that's where we were going too. So
wow,
like we were
crazy.
both caught off guard.
Yeah.
But like all of that happened. I was with my friends. We were back together. And they were missing, and I was like, no, I've done all this shit. Like, I am impenetrable. I am invincible. I got this. And then I did not got this.
Wow. And then but it led to maybe my favorite scene of the season, which was Nick and Drew on the roof. And that's
honestly, I cried.
That was heartbreaking.
I didn't cry.
That was heartbreaking.
I didn't even cry for no offense, Zach, but like Jenna and Morgan didn't get me as much as Drew and
I mean, it was, and that was something I wanted to actually. That's a good segue into asking you, Michael. Is usually you've played these characters with kind of a front row romance, and like that's what like that's like the biggest aspect, not the biggest aspect of their character, but the biggest aspect of their current plot, and so playing Nick where that wasn't the case. And also, I guess I should say, I've said in all these talkbacks that I like to think that the remaining seasons have a theme, and I definitely think the theme for season 5 was relationships, and cultivating them, using them, losing them, and so what was it like for you playing Nick, who had this kind of like mentor-mentee relationship with Drew, but then also like a big brother little sister relationship with Sarah, kind of like pulled into this family that is not his? Like, talk about that.
Yeah. So first, I knew Sarah was gonna die before the season even started. Something about the setup, because Angie did let me know about Drew ahead of time. And something about Angie, she messaged me like, by the way, you're his hero, and I was like, fuck, his sister's gonna die, and I'm gonna be the one that's like watching over him. I instantly knew.
I love that.
If anything, I didn't go into this season going, well, here's what I think could happen. Yeah. Like I could kind of see with Liam.
His journey would be about opening up, and
Liam, I was like, with Liam, I was like, I could go this way or this way, and I could see it. Nick, I was like, I don't know, he's pretty happy as just hanging out at the dam. So I don't see a status quo changing for him at all. But because losing Sarah was difficult, but I think he could see like the light at the end of the tunnel of, well, I can still get Drew home, and then we can, work together through this. We can work through this together.
Yeah.
And then Drew died. Yeah. And then I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Which I think I messaged this to the group, but it totally changed the whatever epilogue I had planned.
Yeah.
It's completely different. It's definitely, I don't even know if that answered your question. But
no, it did. No, it was because it was interesting to see Nick navigate that. And that leads me to another question that I had for all four of you, which is, let's live in a world, a multiverse here. Let's say the people from the SRS community come, some of them attack, you beat them. Benny's relationship with Terrence and Maria's new relationship with Vinny, which we'll talk about. Let's say that helps kind of calm the situation, and eventually like an agreement is made and everything is good, and everyone that has survived so far is still surviving. If all that happens, what do you see your characters doing in the coming years? And so, Angie obviously drew doesn't have an epilogue, but do you think? I mean, do you have any thoughts on what would happen with Maria? What's up with Maria?
Maria's wild because like literally it was meant to just be like a fill-in. Like it was just supposed to get me to play the last session and not miss it. And then I didn't mean for Vinny to become a thing.
Nobody ever does.
I didn't mean. I literally was just like, okay, and like I'm this NPC that has now come to life. Like I kind of tried to stay in the background. I kind of tried to like not be too. I was like supportive. Like I was just trying to be supportive. But then, whatever the fuck was it, Eric? Was it the moment where I like stitched myself or like cut off my own
I think it started
finger?
with you, like you ran up to help Vinny at the door, right?
Yeah, you like threw yourself in front of it.
Well, and then I got bit, and then I went back and chopped my own fingers off, and you came back and you were like, hello. And I was like, oh, this does it for you? Okay.
I think it was the fact that like you basically saved, in Vinny's eyes, you saved him from getting bit. You know, you put yourself in front of him. If it wasn't you, it probably would have been Vinny.
Yeah. See, this is what.
Which in his mind is like something that he would never do.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, there was times where Vinny had some opportunities for some questionable decisions, but usually made the morally correct one. The one with Tyler is a bit. That's a bit. You know,
that was good though.
That was mic drop good.
Entertainment.
That was dope when you were just like, he's got a knife.
My plan was I was like, I'm going to befriend. My honest plan was I'm going to tell Tyler everything's cool, we're fine. And then I was going to just stab him. I was going to slit his throat in the night. Yeah. But then for some reason I was like mean to him. And then I was like, it's just not going to work out. He doesn't trust me anymore.
Well, and that goes to play into the fact that, you know I asked you the epilogue question. We'll get to that later. Because I feel like there's just still more that we haven't talked about, like in the actual plot of everything. So that was the other that goes off to play with the Tyler thing. I stacked the odds against you guys heavily. Like I mean, like you did not have the power in this situation, but it was through your cultivating of relationships, through your working together, that you were able to actually get a little bit of assistance, and then with that little bit of assistance, you were able to do some pretty great things. But that's what I like about the remains is the fact that like one wrong move and all of a sudden everything changes. And so what was a moment this season for you that was like a holy shit moment? Like for me personally, even though I was the one doing it, I think just the shooting of Sarah was the like the ball drop. Like that was the like, oh shit, things have changed now. What were you saying, Sophie? I saw you nodding.
I was just saying that the same thing. That the shooting of Sarah was like, oh, Tom has to make a decision right now. With this group or not with this group. I had always hoped and planned to get out, and this is the best opportunity I have. But also, if Jack starts killing all these people, do I need a buffer?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think Tom definitely would have gone into self-preservation there.
Yeah.
So, Angie, you thought that so too? The death of Sarah was like...
Well, even for... I think that the moment that Jack took... Oh, what's his fuck? The one that was mean to me, that smacked me.
Joe.
The minute that
when he put Joe on his knees
and started being like, he was gonna fucking let you die.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. That for me is what started the whole like Jack is off his rocker that like led to Sarah, that led to the like whatever.
Yeah.
Because I legitimately for a minute was like, oh, is he doing a thing of like part 2 where he's trying to like humanize and like maybe I am 12 and I don't understand, and then like he snapped and I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
No, he's really just truly crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment too.
Yeah, definitely harken back to the show and the game with the cannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definite cannibal.
I mean, that's definitely the vibes I was trying to give. Yeah, but without the creepy part. I mean, it was all creepy, but without the creepy part. You know what I'm saying?
Vinny's eaten humans before. I'm just gonna say that he has.
Really? Did you establish that in your head
absolutely.
canon? I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
That's crazy.
He does whatever he
I
needs
mean,
to
it
do.
kind of sounds like Tom has too.
Tom hasn't done it intentionally, but like when they're like, oh, you got your community and they're serving you food, and then
Yeah.
oh no.
It also gave me, for anybody who has watched or played the second game, the Rattlers in the Santa Barbara plot.
That's who they were inspired by.
Yeah, it's just like you never learn about them except through the like little collectibles that you find, but like them having the chained up infected and then having like
and Jack looked like
prisoners.
a biker dude, you know, in prison.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, just like the prisoner revolution and like I definitely was just like, and the desert vibes and the like heat and the water and like blah blah. It was just good.
When I messaged in the Discord and I said real part 2 vibes, I meant mainly what I meant is the reveal of what season 6 is going to be, but I also meant the setting of the desert arid area and also the they were, like I said, they were definitely inspired by the Rattlers. What about you, Eric and Michael? Did you have a big like what the fuck moment this season?
I guess not so much a what the fuck moment, but one of them was when Joe died.
Yeah.
Only because I was working so hard to turn him against everybody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
All of that needless laundry that I was doing.
Laundry.
That was, what was the point of all that?
All of those wet pecs.
Yeah, all those wet shirts, all those wet shirts.
Those wet pecs.
Those wet shirts.
Michael Wet Pecs Brigance.
That's never been.
Oh,
it is now.
I don't.
It is now.
I would. There's a. Okay, I'm gonna move past that.
X card.
I'm moving past that. The other one was finding out that Rachel was not only 2-timing her husband, but that the husband knew.
Yeah.
Which then led to us just having a real giggle.
Exactly.
A real giggle.
It sure did. Yeah, a real giggle at a real opportune time.
Not the worst time that a giggle fest happened this season.
That's true.
Never forget the mother crying about her dead children, and Sophie's doing a set at the Apollo apparently.
Oh my god!
And it's just like we're doing two different things. We're doing two different things
I gotta
here.
revisit that.
I've seen a lot of TikToks of people talking about how their D&D groups. It's like it is everybody experiences this trope of like very serious moment and the chat being utter trolls.
Trolls.
Yeah.
So many.
That was
six dads who wait for Christ. That's what it was.
In person. That doesn't happen so much.
Did you buy one of those stickers, Eric?
No, I didn't. I want to. What was it? I vape for
Sick
Christ.
dads who vape for Christ.
Sick dads who vape for Christ.
And then I
don't even remember the context.
The thing is like, the hardest part about it is just the fact that I am trying to like keep it together. Looking at Michael, we're both trying to keep it together, and then the other 3 screens are literally like.
They're watching Airplane. They're watching like some like farce.
It was so funny.
So sorry.
No, it was funny. It was good.
Happens to the best of us.
Exactly, that's what I said. Everybody deals with it.
Well, when Eric sent that thrusting line,
I mean, and that happened in the Teroth campaign, right?
That was in Teroth, which is like a little bit more acceptable, but also not when I like Quinn and Maywin's family was just slaughtered. Yeah.
I think I literally had to stop that stream and be like, Eric, what did you do? Okay, so Eric, what did you have a what the fuck?
Yeah, the whole knife thing was like the first time that I had to make like a big decision that no matter which way I took it, because like I got given a knife to kill somebody, and that person knows I have.
Yeah.
So like no matter which way we go about this, like, something's changing
Yeah,
about our
exactly,
dynamic,
yeah.
you know. So that was probably
honestly,
yeah.
I really loved that interaction between Vinny and Tyler because at least the way you were playing it, it seemed this way. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Vinny genuinely was just like, dude, just be cool about this. like I don't want to kill you. It seemed like Vinny was really like, I don't want to kill you.
As soon as he was handed the knife, he knew that Tyler was dead.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Me as a person was like going back and forth, but like Vinny knew as soon as.
No, I love that.
It's like that. It's like that Breaking Bad scene where Hank's on the ground. He's like, he made his decision up 10 minutes ago. Like it was gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of briefly touched on it, but The Remains is definitely known for its romances and its romantic scenes, and yet we didn't really have. I mean, come on! Season 1, we've got the creeping of Jenna and Morgan. We've got ZWG, and we've got DWG, and then Season 2, we've got Ash Murphy and all of their partners and the tension between them and the breaking out of Lex and Mina. Season 3, we've got Lex and Mina, Lex and somebody else, Lex and somebody else. We've got, Kelsey's character and
Luke and
Fable.
Luke and Fable. Then, season 4 is right back in it with the others. And then, so yeah, I mean, I think that these seasons have all had pretty prominent romances, season 5 not being one of them until, and this is what we were just talking about earlier, Angie takes for lack of a better term, a pre-generated character, makes it her own, and discovers something that you weren't expecting to discover in that moment, which was like, so we kind of talked about
straight.
it. We talked about how it happened and why, like, Vinny did what he did, but how did you feel in that moment, and how did you navigate that? You said it changed the ending for you slightly.
Yeah, at first I was like, because this is gonna sound, okay, get ready. Not that I don't pay attention to you, but sometimes I do this thing where, like, if I'm a character and I'm not in a scene, it's not that I don't try to pay attention, but like I don't want to know things that my character wouldn't know. And so I, as Drew, was absent from a lot of the stuff that was going on in the prison.
Yeah.
And so I didn't I knew that there was stuff going on. I knew people were having relationships, but I couldn't really remember who Maria bonded with and like who convinced her and who found out that she was kind of like anti this.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was just like, okay, like we'll see what happens. And then that moment with Vinny, I was just like, oh, this is an opportunity for me as Angie, as Maria, to get in with someone in this settlement.
Yeah.
In a way that is a little bit more than just like, hey, I'm this stranger that they're vouching for. Yeah. Like there's a little bit more of a connection. And
so
then
you were using me?
So at first, yes. And then as we were going down the road and like things are being said, there's like talk, and then I'm learning, and like then Ben is being like a real Ben about it, and I was just like, I don't have time for you, like I have a job to do. I know you don't know that, but like I have a job to do. But like at every moment there became this like softness that was happening with Vinny, that I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah, exactly. I was just like, God damn it.
And in Angie's defense, because I called Angie after the 3rd session and we came up with the idea of her becoming Maria, and I talked to her about it, and I felt this way. And I felt like, I mean, it might be a bit of a stretch to some people, but I don't think that there's 0 people in the world who would feel this way. From the SRS's perspective, everything that the Hoover Dam community did was very questionable, and backed up a lot of what Jack was saying. Like Drew gunning down a man who was running from him. Like is it then so crazy that Jack saying he turned on them is maybe true? Or, the Hoover Dam community being crazy, and then Ben and Maria hearing about how they very much are willing to put men, women, and children at risk by sending a horde of infected their way. Like, very much willing to cause that. Like, from
Not everybody was very much.
I know, but I mean, you were Nick. Nick
I
was
pushing it pretty hard.
Roy, I just kept forgetting existed, and
He's just so cool.
He was so cool. So and that's what I was talking to Angie about, and so I was like, and from Maria's perspective, and then watching Nick come up and just so cold-bloodedly just like killing Rachel, and of course there's so much emotion behind that, and it's very justified in Nick's head, but
It's hot blood.
But Maria, it's like it's just that could be contorted in a different way, and so I told Angie to come at it with that perspective, like, this community's not a good community, like what you are doing is a good thing. And then for her to come into it with that perspective, but then be greeted by nothing but like kindness and welcoming.
Yeah.
It was cool to see you tackle that. And also I know Angie, and so it was cool to see Angie have these soft, because I saw it from the very beginning. I saw the gas station moment where Angie as Maria decided to play up being interested and decided to play up being like whatever. And then as it went on, I saw Angie as Maria start to like break down and start to actually accept it. I thought it was cool.
Well, and even that final call.
Yeah.
When you set me up perfectly, I was like, there's a world in which I could just like fuck Zach over and be
I would have been okay with it.
Not make the call. Yeah. But then I knew that was the setup for season 6. And so I was like, I gotta like play my role, but I don't have to like it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think like to that point, we can talk about it later at the epilogue, but there is
now I was actually going to say, so now this is a good segue to start talking about what you would think would happen in the future.
I think that Drew will remain dead.
Yeah.
And then I think that I don't know if Maria will tell Vinny what she did. I know that I feel like it will happen in the moment.
Yeah.
I know she would want to.
Yeah.
But I also know that she might even turn on the SRS when they get here.
Yeah.
Because the minute she got into the settlement, the thing that caught me specifically about that is that she's like, I can get people here. We can take out the SRS. This is my best chance of taking out the people that would come. And then I can get my people here and we can just like combine communities. Like there's that idea going in her head. But also, they didn't imprison people when they first got here.
Yeah.
And like Kevin was like a little bit unhinged, but like they don't imprison people.
Yeah.
And like
I kind of
isn't that excuse.
Yeah. I kind of like specifically made that moment with Kevin, that intense moment between Maria and Ben and Kevin, to show that like truly to survive in this world, and to not only survive but be a leader in this world, a small part of you has to be that intense. Yeah. And a small part of you has to be that committed to a certain way. And it was kind of an homage to the fact that, like, yes, Jack was unhinged, but there's not that much separating Jack from most of the people out here. Yeah. So then, Eric, do you think that if Maria stayed and if that happened, that, like, Vinny would just keep going with Maria?
I mean, if he found out that she made the call, it would be pretty hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
It would.
What do you think that Vinny? I mean, what do you think Vinny would do? Do you think he would try to get her exiled, or like just like cold shoulder?
Finds out, I mean, it's like if he sees her fighting and killing the members that like she, and then if she does like play it off as like we were gonna trap him and everything, but it would be a whole conversation. It would be tough to get over that.
Yeah. Yeah, Sophie
betraying the community
did this, and I was thinking, for the way you talked about Vinny, it wouldn't be. I mean, do you think Vinny would kill Maria?
If the conversation didn't go well, yeah, absolutely.
Wow, intense.
Remember when I thought that both the characters were gonna die?
Yeah.
When I got bit, and I was like, "Oh, all right, this has been fun."
And I love that Eric literally said, Eric said, so like, how does the bite system work? Like, and just asked
Well,
them
let
out.
us show you.
And
Even
then
before
boom.
that, I was like, "Oh, you got to cut off a finger to join our group," and then you cut off your finger.
So crazy. What about you, Sophie? What do you see from Tom? Is Tom staying in the Hoover? Is he actually putting down roots?
I think it's really iffy at this
Yeah.
point. I think regardless of what happens, I think like it depends on how he's treated by this group.
Yeah.
He is getting old. He is getting too old to be wandering constantly, but that's been kind of his lot in life. And
How old is
he
Tom?
at this point in time, because we're how many years after?
20 after.
Yeah, he's probably in his early 50s at this point in time,
No, that's
which
what I
is
figured.
which is a hard age to just be like wandering the desert.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean that's hard for the post-apocalypse for sure.
yeah, bad on the knees. Bad.
Yeah, horrible.
In sand? Are you kidding me?
And yeah. So I mean, he's got a motivation to want to stay here, but he's also not been cooped up anywhere for a long time, and this might just be a different form of imprisonment for him. So
Yeah.
if things go bad and the dam gets attacked, especially, he might get a little flighty. And
It sounds like Tom needs to go find the desert flowers, the community that the Hoover Dam people have like a relationship with. And
he is probably aware of them.
Yeah.
From his time, like bouncing between communities, trying
For
to set
sure.
up exchanges and being a fixer. So
Are they like a hippie group?
pretty much.
Oh.
That's kind of like I made them like, yeah, like they definitely were growing cannabis and.
Hell yeah.
So Michael, talk to us about Nick. What happens with Nick?
He's very sad.
Man, yeah, he's sad. I think the plan was before Maria showed how many faces she had.
At least two.
At least two. I was
Minimum.
going to give the gym over to Maria. It's not happening now. I think Nick leaves. Nick totally leaves the dam.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Come on, dude. That's such low-hanging fruit.
I was waiting for a long time.
I think before he goes, the last thing he does, because he has all this like art shit, I think he paints a giant mural of Sarah Andrew in the gym.
Heartbreak.
And then I mentioned
It's like
kind of
stick figures, like he's really not good at it.
Maria immediately paints over it.
No, I know. It'd just be so funny.
He went to school for it. Don't let Eric spoil this. Then I think I kind of mentioned this offhandedly in the last episode. He has family stuff that is kind of unresolved. And I think especially because of the things that happened with Drew and Sarah and then the conversation he had with their mom, that is really going over in his mind. And I think he needs resolution for it. So I think he pretty much in the middle of the night steals a car, gets some supplies, and starts heading to his home, which when I named it, I didn't think of the connotation for some fucking reason until it happened, but his home is Seattle. So I think he drives on up there.
Hey, connection!
But wait, there's more.
The last thing that he heard, and this is again, like I didn't really get into it, but he has weird family stuff. Specifically before he left, his parents were having an interesting time figuring out how Nick paid for his college. They weren't handling it great, but they were in the process of it. But Nick's aunt, his mom's sister, is a super fundamentalist religious kind of nutcase.
Oh.
And it's been
Are you kidding me?
It's been a cause of tension between them. And so I think like the last thing that his mom and him talked about were like, yeah, I'm dealing with this. There's a lot going on. We can't have this conversation because I'm dealing with this other thing.
Oh my god.
And so I think he goes up to Seattle, and then
He finds the light.
I think he becomes. I think stuff goes down. I think he would probably become a member of the WLF. He's certainly not fucking up his face. So he's not he's not a Seraphite.
Yeah.
No.
So I think that's what happens, more out of necessity than him actually going.
I love it. I've definitely thought about having, and so who knows, this might lead into it, but I've definitely thought about having a season of The Remains where it's just no holds bar crossover.
All-Star season.
An all-star season.
Like on a battle royale with all of our different characters.
That would be nuts. That would be crazy.
Wes brought up an interesting thought the last time I was on the phone with was reaching out to Jossie to see if she would participate. I was like, I don't know. And she's like,
could you imagine?
And I was like, I don't know if I can keep my friends from geeking out long enough.
Eric, so you know that is the model for Abby, part 2.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
She went to our college, apparently.
Yeah. Really?
That dumb game.
Yeah. That dumb game.
Well, hey, my other friend from high school is the hair model for Ellie in part 2.
Hey! So do you think we
world.
can get her hair? Do you think we can get that?
Yeah.
It's different
Have
now.
a turnaround.
It's not the same. I did see it while she was filming it though.
All right, so I guess.
Well, I'll get my friend Laura Bailey to see if she wants to.
Yeah, my friend Ash, she's super cool.
Yeah. Oh, God,
I'll call Pedro.
Jesus, I would not
love
do well.
I know Mr. HBO.
I know
HBO.
Yeah, Max.
I know.
Max
I
HBO.
actually, I know Naughty Dog. I know him.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm friends with Mr. Dog. We're good.
Okay,
pals.
so to wrap this up, there's a person here amongst us who has never been in The Remains, and as a matter of fact, he not only has never been in The Remains, he's avidly not a fan of the game. I don't know if that's true or if it's just to spite us. I think it's just to spite us. He wrote a Rotten Tomatoes review that was scathing for Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey.
I have a restraining order.
No, you actually enjoyed the show, correct? You enjoyed the
I like the show.
So, all of that being said, how did you feel about The Remains? What were your thoughts? And also,
it was great.
Anything that you have to say, just because everybody else in all the other talkbacks has talked about this, but anything you have to say about the mechanics of the game, liked or would want to change, but also just your general impression that you were about to say.
I liked it. I don't not like the game. I just haven't played it. And the more that you guys talk about how much you like it, the more I have to just go and come from the other side.
It's a bit at this point.
And it's not going to stop. The game's terrible. The mechanics are simple, and that I think lends to storytelling, just like the one that Matt ran. I don't remember what that system was called. Yeah. But I feel like the stakes are so high with The Remains. Like, it's so hard to kill someone in D&D, like a player character. They have like 20 chances of coming back.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that we didn't get our full HP back on a long rest. That really shook me the first episode. I was like, okay, well, I lost 5. Like, I'll get that tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
Like, no, it's gone.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what, one of the things about the game that I do enjoy so much is that it is a brutal, you get a couple bullets in you and you're dead. And so I really wanted to try to emulate that with the fact that, it's not only can you only heal by actually healing yourself, not only that, but you go down to 0 and you're dead. No death saving
throws. There's no death saves or anything.
Yeah, you're dead. You're 0 and you're dead.
Yeah, so I like the high stakes of it.
Yeah, cool. Well, as we said, season 6 is going to be I hope, unless something changes, I mean, you never know, but I do think season 6 will be members being castmates will be members of the SRS community in the aftermath of the breaking out of the Hoover Dam community and kind of navigating that and navigating what they've heard and what the truth is and doing
And
that.
it's still The Last of Us?
And it's still, yeah. It is still. No, I'm actually thinking of switching up to the Game of Thrones world, just kind of like throw it off. But no details on the dates of that yet. It's summer, people are busy, but we'll get a date on the calendar soon. But speaking of dates, this coming Sunday at 2 p.m. Central is our next.
I didn't know where that was going.
Is our next Tearoth session. So, please join us then for that. And then nothing this Monday, right? No, that's not until July. So, and then next Thursday, a week from today, at 7 p.m. Central, so basically right now, a week from right now, will be our first session in our long-running campaign with Monster Hearts. Very excited to get that going. With Angie as our Master of Ceremonies, you'll also catch me and Sophie, along with Matt, Emily, and Jen being characters. Very excited. We had our session 0. Go check that out if you want to learn how the system kind of gets set up. We came up with a dope town. And some Angelwood and some dope so just some dope backstory already to sink our teeth into. So come join us next Thursday and stay tuned at Charm Persons on all social media for further updates. We are at 98 followers on Twitch. We are so close to 100. If you have an Amazon Prime account and you're not subscribed to someone, subscribe to us, hit that follow button. If you know someone who has an Amazon Prime account but they don't watch any Twitch, get their info, subscribe to us for them, and
start stealing passwords, people.
Just really passwords aren't that hard to figure out. Use their birthday with the year that they were born. Try that first. But anyway,
I gotta change some passwords.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you to my players, the best players a GM can ask for. I say it every time, and I mean it. And as always, everybody say bye.
Bye.